Did you, like, check the oil and all that other junk under the hood? Check this out.
Yeah, a lot of the jokes, like the mean-spirited ones especially, I just didn't like. Like, I get the point that they're mean and that they become, like, Rachel McAdams learns to not be a bitch. But it's just not funny. There's a lot of these mean-spirited jokes at the beginning, in my opinion.
Jessica Spencer. She's Miss Perfect.
Your life is like a fairy tale.
And Anna Faris is great. She's always just fantastic.
Kaboom.
She's Miss Popular.
I'm returning your papers on the Salem witch trials. Even here, got the only A.
That's not fair. She was the only one who was actually there.
But a curse is about.
And like they show she's mean, but I do like what they do about making, like, she learns from her mistakes. She finds out, yeah, maybe I shouldn't be a total bitch all the time. So it's a good message, to be fair.
To turn her into.
Okay, they're making it seem like she's the reason that she switches bodies with Rob Schneider, but she's not. That's false advertising, sort of, from the trailer. Yeah, turns into Schneider, Rob Schneider. And honestly, the main problem with this is there's too much Rob Schneider. And I get that this is a Rob Schneider joint. Like, this is a Rob Schneider movie. But Rachel McAdams, if they gave us more Rachel McAdams acting like Rob Schneider's character, I would have liked that. It would have added more to the film. She does a better job of playing Rob Schneider than Rob Schneider does playing Rachel McAdams, in my opinion. But I digress. Keep on going with the trailer. Hilarious.
I need you so bad right now.
How did you know my name?
Oh, and there's a lot of stuff that dates this movie, but one of the funnier things that dates this movie is Anna Faris is eating, they just show a pink snowball, and Rachel McAdams is like, slaps it out of her hand, and it's like, that'll go straight to your ass. But nowadays, of course, everyone wants a big ass, but at this time, people didn't want a big ass, or some people didn't, maybe some people did, but now a big ass is, like, accepted as good. So that's something that has changed as in the times.
It's me.
You stay away from me. I have pepper spray on my keychain.
Please.
That was a kind of funny bit where she's trying to find the pepper spray on the big keychain. I kind of like that. And this was one of my notes that, like, not only does he fall down these bleachers once, he falls down again, or she, if you want to say, because it's Rachel McAdams in his body, but he would have to go to the hospital or he would die. Like, that, I get that's sort of the point, like, it's over the top cartoony, but I don't know, it's a little silly. I think he would have been injured enough to go to the hospital.
Mother. Ow.
So, can I see it?
Oh yeah, and of course,
Gravity of the situation
she
here.
wants to see the penis, obviously, right? That's the big part.
Can I see it?
She wants to see it.
She's got
Her best friend became a man. She wants to see the penis. I guess that's fair. I don't know.
to reverse the spell
Before the full moon end.
or live like this forever.
Hello? I should have made love to you when I had the chance.
Dude, who was that?
I think it was my old camp counselor.
Okay, that was one of the jokes that I actually thought was kind of funny. It's a little risque, but it was still kind of funny. Rob Schneider phones him because he's Rachel McAdams, and obviously they're boyfriend and girlfriend. And he's like, I should have made love to you when we had the chance. And he goes, Father O'Reilly? Or something like that. And so it's, it's a priest joke, and, you can lump it or like it. I thought it was kind of funny, but, whatever.
Is the story of a girl. Hey, Billy!
From Touchstone Pictures.
You have no idea what it's like to wake up every morning, have to shave your chin. Yes, I do.
I saw that joke coming. I was like, she's going to say that she does have to shave her chin. I right away called that joke.
Look good.
I am so lesbian right now.
Rob
Yeah,
Schneider is.
lots of shit like that it wasn't funny in it, in my opinion.
The hot chick.
That's my man.
Scoot. Boy, I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't know. I have a lot of notes. We'll get into it, but that was the trailer for the hot chick. Any thoughts, feelings about that? Anybody? But yeah, if you want to talk in the Discord, feel free to pop in and we can talk about this movie. But in the meantime, let's look at the Rotten Tomatoes score. So yeah, the Rotten Tomatoes score 21%. I think that was the same that the Mighty Ducks had, and that's not fair, I don't think. But the critic score is like one of the stupidest ways to judge a movie. Usually in Rotten Tomatoes, I usually disagree with the critic score. Sometimes I do agree with it, but usually not. 21% I think is too low for this, even though it's not good. It's not great, but I'm gonna give it probably. The way I do ratings is if it like really pissed me off and there was nothing redeeming about it, then it gets below 5. That's how I feel. 5 out of 10. But then if I'm honestly probably gonna give this one something around the 5 something mark, but I think it just barely passed. There was enough funny jokes that at least kept me somewhat entertained throughout the film. But it's not amazing, and I'm not gonna recommend this to everybody. But it was kind of fun, I'm not gonna lie. I liked some of the jokes. But the audience score is more how I would feel about this movie. Let's look at some of the reviews. Sometimes these are funny. Offensive, vile, and even worse, not funny. Okay, I can see that. I can see that point of view, but I think some of the jokes were funny. But some of them definitely were not. A surprisingly good-natured throwback to the 80s heyday of the body-switching genre. Remember, this is a genre. Freaky Friday, and there's movies that are kind of like this, but then they use like prosthetics as so they use it in a different way, like Big Mama's House, or White Chicks, which I think of, and this is the best way I can describe this movie. How on the scale of funniness, how funny is this movie? It's better than Biodome, so Biodome's like real low on the scale, and then this movie is above Biodome, but below White Chicks, which isn't hugely high on my scale, but it's definitely better than this movie, I think. And they're comparable in a lot of ways, but Terry Crews sort of elevates that one a little above this one, in my opinion. Let's look at the IMDb page. 5.5 out of 10. Yeah, that's fair enough for an IMDb score. And Matthew Lawrence. Let's click. This is Billy, who plays Rachel McAdams or Rob Schneider's boyfriend, whatever, however you want to look at it, in this movie. And he's in some shit. Let's look what he's in. He's in Mrs. Doubtfire. He must be one of the kids in Mrs. Doubtfire. Oh, and he's in Boy Meets World. Oh, he's the friend that they add. That's where I know him from. Is Boy Meets fucking World. That's it. Okay. It's all starting to make sense. He plays Jack. I get it. He's a character that's added later in the series. But yeah, Matthew Lawrence. He's that classic sort of looking brunette, handsome guy. But yeah, back to the IMDb page. Rachel McAdams, like I said, does an excellent job. Anna Faris as well. Rob Schneider doesn't do a terrible job. Like, he's trying his best, but I do think Rachel McAdams is the better actor here. And if they would have like split it up a little more evenly with the Rachel McAdams bits and the Rob Schneider bits, I think it would have been better. Rachel McAdams gets like the less screen time than almost anybody. All the other friends too. But other than that, wait, there's someone who I wanted to mention. The mom, Carol, Melora Hardin. She is Jan Levinson from The Office. So I definitely wanted to mention that. I think that was even one of my notes originally that I had was Jan Levinson is in this movie. Because there's a part where she like comes on to Rob Schneider, but Rob Schneider's like, I like men because, it's Rachel McAdams, her daughter, in there. But yeah, so let's make my head bigger and we'll really get into it. I'll start going through my notes and we'll really talk about the movie. And I have a lot of notes to talk about with this. So we'll see how long this review goes. Oh, it's a little bit Could be a little bit bigger. If you look at the top of the screen, there's a tiny little line. You can see a little bit of the display still. There it is. Okay. So let's get into it here, into the notes. Hot chick. So at the beginning, they explain the body swapping, and that's actually something I kind of like, that they explain the magic sort of better than some of these, because they show at the end. They don't do this in Freaky Friday, and it is a different. Let's compare this to Freaky Friday real quick. So in Freaky Friday, I think like the spirits come out and they switch into the bodies, which is fine. You know, you don't even need to see that; it works for the movie. But in this, their bodies switch. So like their bodies switch into their souls. So the souls stay and the body switches. So Rachel McAdams wakes up in her own bed, but as Rob Schneider. But I think the way they do it in Freaky Friday is that they wake up in the opposite beds, and that they're just their spirits or whatever you want to call it, souls or spirits, are transferred into the body. So that's something that's a little different about these. But yeah, at the beginning of the movie, they show that how the origin goes of this movie is that I think it's Egypt or something, that there's a king that wants to marry a bride, and she doesn't want to marry him, so she gets a slave girl to wear an earring, and these are magic earrings, and they each wear one, and then they switch bodies, so that they switch because she doesn't want to marry him, but then she becomes a slave girl. So it's like, was that really a smart move? I don't know. But that wasn't my note. My note is there's a shot where we see the king eating watermelon and he spits it out. And just the way they edited it, I didn't like, because it looks like he's spitting onto these wedding rings. That the next shot they show the wedding ring. He's not, but it looks a little weird. I didn't like the edit. But Adam Sandler is in this movie. It's a Happy Madison production, so it makes sense that he would make an appearance. He is in this like African artifact voodoo shop as an employee, and the gag, and I guess this was an SNL sketch, a sketch that Rob Schneider was in, that a shopkeeper goes through all these different little items, and the recurring joke is like he'll explain like, this is a model of the prison that the president of South Africa was in, and he'll go through this whole big spiel, but then he'll be like, and you can put your weed in here, or he'll be like a clarinet, it's like, and you can put your weed in here, and that's a big joke there, and it was kind of funny. But my problem with the Adam Sandler character is that it's one of those characters where he does a voice, and it's just a little too quiet. I wish that it was a little louder. Like, even if he did a stage whisper, it's just hard to understand what he's saying some of the times in it. But then, yeah, obviously, yo, Dr. OG Nexter, what's up? We're reviewing The Hot Chick with Rob Schneider. How are you doing, my friend? Let's give you a shout out. Everyone should follow OG Nexter if you haven't already. I'll give you a shout out right here. But how are you doing, my friend? Welcome to the party. Have you seen this movie? If you have and you want to talk about it, pop in the Discord if you're feeling it, and we can talk about it. But yeah, I'm tearing into this movie. So yeah, that's where the plot sort of starts, is in this voodoo shop or whatever, African artifact shop, where they get these earrings, but they're not for sale. Rachel McAdams ends up stealing. Oh my god, you're getting a wisdom tooth taken out tomorrow? Good luck. Hey, I think it'll be okay. You know why? Because they'll probably give you some fun drugs, right? Man, and correct me if I'm wrong. But that's the part of the wisdom teeth that I always wish that I could have had. Because I was one of the 1 in 20 people not born with wisdom teeth. I never had them. And I always saw my friends get them taken out. Maybe I'm the grass is always greener. Maybe it's one of those things, but I always kind of wanted to do it. I wanted to get my wisdom teeth taken out so I could get some crazy drugs and be a little loopy. But it's never gonna happen for me. But yeah, I hope it doesn't hurt. I hope you're okay. And you said, but it's okay, so I'm assuming it's okay. But yeah, the reason for it not being sold, and like, why would they have it on display? At least have it behind or something, but it's like out in the open. And she's like, I want to buy these. Like, why wouldn't she be able to buy them? but the reasoning for her not buying it is because it's a genuine artifact. Like, what the fuck does that even mean? Yeah, they put me to sleep. Okay, well, yeah, they gotta do that. Some anesthetic, I'm assuming. Or nitrous. I don't even know. I don't know the science, but I hope, I hope you're okay. Okay, yeah, and I already talked about this, but when Rob Schneider falls off the bleachers because Anna Faris shoots pepper spray at him or her, because he's Rachel Adams at that point. Anesthetic, that's right. But he falls down the bleachers a bunch, and he would have to go to the hospital. So that's something I already mentioned. I don't need to go too deep into that. But it just doesn't make sense to me. But another note I have here, would Rob Schneider really be that strong in a pillow fight? Because obviously, he's a man, and he's, they're having a pillow fight because it's Rachel McAdams in Rob Schneider's body. And there's one point where he smacks Anna Faris so hard that she goes flying and hitting the wall. And I guess that's kind of the point. Like, that's the joke. And maybe I let out like a mild chuckle, but the part of me that wants to make sense is like, that doesn't make any sense. But to be fair, this is it's a fantasy body swapping, ridiculous Adam Sandler, Happy Madison, Rob Schneider comedy. So you can understand why they did that. It's the little taste of the Happy Madison production. But I feel like for the most part, they were trying to make like a movie that was acceptable to everybody. But they did not succeed in a lot of ways. But overall, it was still... there was parts that I liked, but there was parts that I did not. It was like 50-50, maybe a little bit more on the good side, but it could have been a lot better. The way that I rate movies is I'm kind of lenient. If it has to really piss me off and just be almost completely unredeemable to get below 5. I've given some movies below 5, but not that many, because I know how hard it is to make a movie, and there was some good bits, but there was some bad bits in this. But yeah, I don't think he would be that strong in the pillow fight. Okay, let's talk about the racist stuff, because there's some stuff that just didn't age well. Remember, this is 2002. It was a different time. I can't even say some of the shit that is in this movie. But, I'll use my best words to work around actually saying the words. I think you might know where I'm going with this, but there's a scene, well, it's sort of a reoccurring thing. One of the friends of Rachel McAdams is half Korean and half African American, and she's like hanging out with African American friends, and like the whole joke is that she's ashamed of her Korean heritage. And again, you could debate that this is okay, because the whole point is that at the end she accepts her Korean heritage and she's accepting of her culture and all that. But the walk up there has a little bit of icky parts. For instance, they have the reason she's ashamed is because her mom keeps coming in and being like, "Oh, look, I'm Korean. Let's do the accent. Let's make you uncomfortable." And I don't know. I think that's one thing too, because she's being nice. Like, love your mom. Don't be a bitch. But then she's trying, and some of this is funny, but I cringed so hard for this part, because she's sort of like telling off her mom, like, "Get out of here." She's dressed in classic like rapper clothes. I don't know how else to say it. And I'm not gonna say it, but she says N-word please in the accent, and it was cringy. I did not like it. I have to mention it though. But that happened in the movie, and yeah, lots of things like that just didn't age well. And like Rob Schneider is trying to go back to Rachel McAdams' house because he is Rachel McAdams at this point, so he's trying to get some stuff or whatever. But he's mistaken as a gardener, so he starts to do the classic Rob Schneider thing, pretend to be a Mexican, which, also does not age well. And he goes with the name Taquito, which, you could debate, does not age well. But that being said, it was a different time, right? Just things like this were more acceptable then, and it's just, looking back, it's a little cringy. Would you really reveal your downstairs trim job to a stranger? Yeah, there's a part. Oh, yeah. There's a part where the dad, who has hired Rob Schneider now as the gardener, shows him, like, that he shaved his pubes, and it's like, really? Like, you've known him for a couple days. You're that comfortable with him. You're gonna show him your pubes. I thought that was a little weird. And if Rob Schneider is the gardener, this is a good note because it does not explain. If Rob Schneider is gardening, then where is the gardener that they're expecting? Because he's made it clear, it's like, oh, you're the guy that the company sent. And he's like, yeah. But then where is the guy that the company sent? Where does he come in? He doesn't come in. Doesn't make sense. That's another one of my notes. They would have won They would not have won the cheerleading competition. That's my other note. So, yeah. Rachel McAdams is a cheerleader, and so what they do is Rob Schneider becomes a janitor at the school, so he can, find out what's going on and still take part in the social aspect of school at least, or try to figure out and not miss anything. It's a little silly, but it makes enough sense for this movie. But then he's wearing a bee costume as the mascot, and they do like a thing where he gets lifted up, and then everybody falls down, and they reveal that Rob Schneider is Rob Schneider and not a girl, and he's like 30 years old or whatever. But then they reveal that it's okay that he's on the team. He's allowed to be a mascot because he's an employee of the school. But it doesn't make sense because then they win the competition. They show another team that clearly did better. Like, I don't even know cheerleading, but they didn't fall down. They did a nice routine. So I think that it doesn't make sense that they won still. Like, yeah, sure, they're not disqualified, but they wouldn't have won. They wouldn't have won because they fell down. It just doesn't make any sense. But yeah, what else we got? We got some. We have some. I have a lot of notes for this one. So shake it fast instead of shake your ass. So there's a song that plays and it's in another movie about a boy. Shake your ass. Show me what you're working with. Shake your ass. And this must be the radio edit. I just thought this was funny to mention. It was shake it fast instead of shake your ass. Because this is PG-13. I don't know. But you can say ass still in PG-13 movies, but maybe not that many times. Maybe that's why they chose to use the radio edit. I don't know. But, whoa, God King in the house. We got a THC edible. How many of these do I have left? Welcome, by the way. Hey there, how's it going? You can we got booze, so you can make me drink if you wanted to, but no pressure, obviously. Thank you. How are you doing, God King? Let's give you a shout out. Or you can shout it yourself if you wanted, but I'll do the big one, the classic shout out, the Twitch shout out, because I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. Oh my God, Pretty Belle and God King too. What's up? Pretty Belle gets a shout out too. Thanks, folks. What's up? Just got off work. Not too bad yourself? I'm doing okay. That's cool. You both came in at the same time because you're pals, so that's nice. We're eating an edible because God King redeemed it. So let's do that. What else we gotta say about this? Hi. Hello, welcome. How are you doing? Welcome. Yes! We're talking about The Hot Chick with Rob Schneider. Anybody seen this movie? Yeah, I already talked about most of this. Let's chew this caramel. Doing great? That's awesome. I'm glad to hear. So yeah, they wouldn't have won the cheerleading competition, even though Rob Schneider's allowed to compete, because they fell down. It didn't make any sense. So a long time. Made me too, until now. I rewatched it for this review, obviously. Doesn't really hold up. Lots of things have not aged well. Some of the jokes are still funny, but it fell flat in a lot of areas, I'm not gonna lie. But if people want to talk about it with me in the Discord, feel free to pop in the Discord. I'll put it in there, but no pressure, of course. Obviously, you've seen it a long time ago, so you probably don't want to talk about it, but that's an option, just in case. Okay, so yeah, there's a point where they're trying to find Rachel McAdams. Rob Schneider and Rachel McAdams' friends are trying to find the body of Rachel McAdams so they can switch back, and they find her because she's on the news, and she's using, or Rob Schneider. It's hard to, talk about this because Rob Schneider is inside of Rachel McAdams' body, and now he is using her body to lure men in, beat them up, and take their money. So she drops, when she's beating up one of these guys, she sees it on the news, one of her friends, and Rachel McAdams, Rob Schneider in Rachel McAdams' body, drops a matchbook with a strip club name on it, the Pussy Pole or something like that it's called. And yeah, her friend goes back to the spot that she sees on the news and finds this matchbook. And I'm like, okay, but wouldn't the cops have found that? So she's a better detective than the cops. I thought that was ridiculous. But you know what? It's that stupid Rob Schneider movie. So I let that one slide, but it was kind of silly, and I felt I had to at least make a note of it. Oh yeah, and this is something that I liked, is that they actually show, it is a little creepy, but they actually show the face changing. So they show Rachel McAdams stripping because it's Rob Schneider in the body, but then you see like his face pop out of it, and it looks a little weird, but I liked it because they actually showed the magic happening, because they often don't show that kind of shit in these movies, and I like the actual showing of it, so I appreciate that. But oh yeah. And it says, this is directed by Tom Brady, which is something kind of funny, but it's not the football player. I saw that, it was like, the football player directed this, but no. No, it is not the football. It is someone with the same name who also wrote this with Rob Schneider. And then, yeah, the bloopers weren't good. And that's usually the thing that's, like, always good, no matter what. But it was like the same, it was just Rob Schneider trying to get this line over and over again. That was the whole bloopers, which is just one blooper over and over again. And it was just like, why are we watching this? I don't, like, show me other bloopers. You're just showing me this one? This is a boring blooper. Anna Faris is keeping her composure, but Rob Schneider's just, like, fucking up every take. And it's like, fucking just get the take. I don't know. I hated the bloopers. That's the end of my notes that I wrote. So, let's end it. That's the end of the review. Overall, this movie did not age great. It was not good overall, but I did kind of like some of the jokes. It's not going to win any prizes. I'm going to give it, honestly, because I am sort of conflicted, like, with the parts I liked and the parts I didn't like. I'm going to give it straight up 5 out of 10. 50%. I think that that's fair. It's not, it doesn't deserve more than that, doesn't deserve less than that. 5 out of 10 dogs. It could have been a lot better. 5 out of 10 dogs. The hot chick. Five out of 10 is fair. I'm glad. I think it is too. I think that, because I was like, I don't want to give it below. I don't want to give it a failing rating. I don't think it quite deserves that. But it was not great. I cannot deny. Okay, that's the end of that chapter.